Welcome to Boss Up Goddess. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I interview trailblazing women who help us all live bigger, better, and bolder when they share their wisdom. With me tonight is an amazing woman in Southern Oregon. Her name is Tonya Sowles of Sowles Consulting, and she helps people of all backgrounds shift gears, shift directions, and find that new passion and purpose in life. And what better time than New Year's Eve as we face down a whole new year to talk with Tonya about how we can all change direction and really triumph and rock 2021. Welcome, Tonya.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. This is a great way to kick off New Year's Eve evening for me, especially when it's the crazy 2020 New Year's Eve.
Right. Right. And I love that compass behind you. It is so symbolic and powerful because a lot of us are not happy when we look back and see, what have I been doing all this time? So now we look forward and we're like, what can I do? How do I change gears? And you're an expert at helping people do that. Can you talk about maybe 3 steps people can take to shift gears?
The biggest one to start with, the absolute one, is their mindset. If you talked to me 2 years ago about mindset, I would have been like, I don't know. It's kind of a hooey thing. Once you believe you can, once you know there's possibilities, there's opportunities, you can do it. And that is the biggest thing. And I mean, I was in the small business world forever as a manager. Mm-hmm. Someone else was my boss and I was pigeonholed to this one little space. And I thought, well, this is what I've done forever. And this is the only thing I can do, until I got pushed too far. Mm. And then I left that world and I was lost. Mm. I was I know what's happening. I know how to work in that world, mm-hmm. but now I have this whole other unknown and I was scared. Oh. I actually was reading an article in Entrepreneur magazine this week, and it was talking about the amazing opportunities in 2020 for women entrepreneurs, mm-hmm. and has 3 amazing stories. And the title of the article, "Use Your Fear as a Stepping Stone, Not a Sofa."
Ooh.
So your mindset says, I can do this or I can't. Oh. And using your fear of, I want to try something new. Mm-hmm. I want to do something, but I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. You can either let that stop you, mm-hmm. or let that, I'm not sure. Well, let me ask a question. Let me do some research. My personal story, I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I wanted to open my own business. Mm-hmm. I connected with a woman who I had seen her business from the get-go, and was like, we're not in the same industry at all, but I saw her business and I'm like, I need to know what she's doing. Oh. So I made that connection, mm-hmm. to ask questions. Mm-hmm. The mindset of, I want to make this happen is right. Not hard, mm-hmm. but you also have to understand, as an entrepreneur, you don't have to do it by yourself.
Oh, okay.
And so many entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, because especially now we're working out of our home offices, mm-hmm. we don't have people around us.
Right.
So I got to figure this all out on my own. I got to do it all by myself. Mm-hmm. No, that is the worst thing you can do.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you decide you can, and start asking questions, mm-hmm. and who has those answers to those questions. Mm. So I wanted to know who made beautiful websites, who made beautiful logos, who made these things, this other business I admired. And I said, how did that happen? How did you do that? And start asking questions. As an entrepreneur, you have to ask questions and surround yourself with people who inspire you. And when I say surround yourself, it doesn't have to be everybody in the same room.
Right.
Find a Facebook group, find a LinkedIn group, that strikes your interest.
Mm-hmm.
Look at who's posting and who catches your eye. See what they're talking about, and can you learn from them?
Ooh.
Message them, connect with them. Now more than ever, it's easy to connect virtually.
Mm-hmm.
So surround yourself with people who know you can.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. I'm the person.
Right.
I have seen so many small business owners get frustrated and close their business. Or dreamers have these amazing concepts and ideas, and they're like, I can't do it. Yeah, you can. You just need someone to help push you along and help answer those questions. I have a marketing coach that I admire greatly. In my world, I have an MBA. I have certifications for HR. I have the business down. Marketing scares the crud out of me. Marketing is really hard for me. I have a tough time promoting myself. I have a tough time with that piece. And one of my marketing coaches that I follow on Facebook and on her email list and all of those things says, it's not that you can't do something. It's not that you don't know how to do something. You're a student of something. You're learning, working to learn more. It's like, I like that phrasing. And one of the things, mindset connection, is keeping it positive. It's not that I can't. I'm working on it. I don't quite understand yet, but I will.
I love that. I love that. It really creates a shift. It's not intimidating. It's like, I'm learning. Okay. I'm a student of this. You know what? We have a client who said any mistakes he made that were especially expensive, he would add that to his education file, meaning he invested that money in his education to learn a better way to do it. Instead of saying, oh, I just lost all this money on this mistake. It was my education investment. Isn't that brilliant? And
that's exactly what it is you learn the more that you do. And sometimes it does not turn out the way you planned.
Right.
It does not always work exactly how you want. But you have the choice. And it was a choice that I looked at in March when my business was very local based, in person, going to small businesses, talking to small business owners in coffee shops. And I did not have a digital platform. I did not have a virtual way of connecting. So I had my moment of, how do I do business when the doors just closed and my business is not very old?
Wow.
And so it's that, okay, I had my moment of panic, that moment of fear. And I will tell you right now, I took that day on the sofa of, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do now. But then I used it as a stepping stone.
How?
And I used that fear to learn how to create a virtual business, to learn how to speak on Zoom. I had never been on a Zoom platform before March.
Wow.
Because I literally did everything in person, or I did it on the phone. So it was huge for me.
So Tonya, getting back to that idea of looking at the woman entrepreneur who opened her business and you were like, wow, what did she do? Did you reach out to her? Did she mentor you? Did you emulate her model?
I reached out to her because I said, I'm opening my own business and I want to learn. And she's like, totally. sat down and we had probably a 3-hour conversation. And
Wow.
I said, hey, what do you do for this? How did you do that? And like I said, we're in totally different industries. She's a healthcare provider who runs a solo practice and sees patients.
Mm-hmm.
But how she started her business
Mm-hmm.
was very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually introduced me to another concept I had never thought of,
Mm-hmm.
because in my previous version of me, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't important,
Mm-hmm.
networking and a networking
Oh.
organization.
Uh-huh.
And some people have this phobia of the idea of networking.
Uh-huh.
And I get it. Remember, I said I don't like marketing.
Uh-huh. Right. Right.
Networking is a total marketing thing.
Uh-huh.
I connected with these groups of people,
Mm-hmm.
and the energy they give, the
Mm-hmm.
encouragement you receive,
Uh-huh.
gives you that extra boost.
Yes, yes.
Hey, somebody likes me and I can actually help them.
That's how you and I met.
Totally.
And Tonya, when you do your thing, when you get in your genius zone and you rock it and you make a great impression on people, you don't have to market, because somebody in the chat on the Zoom women's networking group where you and I met about a month ago, somebody wrote to me in the chat, "You need to meet Tonya. She's a badass." You did no marketing. You just did a great job at what you do. And somebody told me about you, and I'd never met you before. And here we are. You see what I mean? So
and that's the changing your mindset and changing your framework of how you think about things.
mm-hmm.
I don't do traditional marketing because it's not comfortable for me.
Mm-mm.
I market through service. I provide value. I provide resources. I provide a lot of information to people because I want them to succeed.
Yes.
I want them to, and I have a Facebook group for small business owners. That is, we have a lot of fun. I do live trainings every week. I tell jokes. I act goofy, but I give them links on how to do things. What are the best? This week's was, what are my top productivity tools that I use for my business? I've done on HR. I've done on small business survival skills, creating your own framework. And all of that as just, here's the information I want you to succeed. If you need some additional support, I'm here and I can totally help you. But if you want to run with it like I did, here's where I started.
Wow.
And that has become my marketing method.
Wow.
And so that's why so many people, when I network with them and I talk to them, and they're like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And that's amazing. That's fantastic. Have you thought about this? Or how did you do that? I'm really curious because I want to understand better so I can help more people.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Excellent. Okay. So what are some other things people can do? I mean, the whole reference to the sofa is about fear and staying in a comfort zone. How do you blast past that fear of changing direction drastically? Because people will criticize. They'll be like, what are you doing? And a lot of people are scared of that. So how do you blast past the fear and just say, I really don't care?
The first thing that I would say is have a daily practice of gratitude, goals, and that thing you're going to do right now to get you towards your goals.
Ooh.
So every morning I start my day with 5 things I'm grateful for every day. I write it down. I have books all over. Some days it's things like naps because it was a really rough day the day before. Others days is I am so excited that I connected with Elizabeth. I'm so excited I was able to help this person. I'm grateful for the help I received from, and that gratitude starts the positive. And it's that mindset piece of, I'm scared to death, but I had some really good things happen. If I build on those good things, more good things will happen.
I love it.
And once you do that, you have your goals. And I have my big audacious goals that is like 10 years down the road, big stuff that I want. And I write them down every day as a current thing.
Oh, yes. Talk about that.
My business is generating more than $1 million a year. My business is, I have created courses for groups and individuals. I have saved so much money. I have paid off my debt. I have built a business serving 10,000 business owners.
Oh, I love it.
Whatever your audacious goals are, and they're going to be totally different than mine. And that's one of my big things. What my audacious goals are not what yours are. And that's not what the women next to us are going to be. That's okay. And you have to set that big picture. And then you find one thing that you're going to work on to work towards one of those goals.
So can you
gain that momentum?
Can you give an example? Like, okay, here's one. If you're writing a book and you want to have a book published in 2021, you need to spend an hour a day writing something for the book, or even 30 minutes, just something to keep that momentum. Is that a good example?
That is a perfect example. I have written 2 books. My goal today, I am going to spend 60 minutes writing. And you block the time in your schedule.
Right.
You make the time and set it aside to say, this is the time I'm going to do this. The other thing, especially women entrepreneurs, are really challenged at doing.
What?
Is taking care of themselves while they do it.
Oh.
Because we get very focused and we spend 10, 12 hours a day on our businesses or working our regular gig, starting our side hustle that's going to become our regular gig, and take care of our family and do all of these other things. But there's no time to regenerate yourself. There's no time to have that minute to think about your audacious goals. There's no time to get your mental reset.
So women I know say they feel selfish when they do that, and that women are trained to measure our worth by how we serve others. So how do you help women see that self-care is not selfish? It makes you better in everything that you do.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the books that I read back in the beginning of all of my inspiration talked about, especially women who work so much, get up an hour earlier and take that time for yourself. If exercise is your regeneration, do that. If it's something else, whether it's reading, whether it's journaling, meditation, meal planning, what your body and your mind needs, get up 30 minutes early. Because I am not the morning person. I will tell you, that is not my favorite time of day. But I started getting up that hour earlier.
Oh.
And I get so much done.
And
I take the first 30-ish minutes to do my journaling, to write out my gratitude, to write out my goals,
Uh-huh.
do those things. And that starts my day.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So self-care really, really, really revs you up. Like I have to exercise. And yesterday I took a bike ride in the rain and it was like 35 degrees. Whatever. I love the fresh air. I need the energy. I sit a lot as a writer. And then I worked until 3 a.m. But I love it. And sleep is a challenge when you're loving what you do and you just don't want to go to bed.
You can only sustain that for so long, though.
I know.
And that's where, when you wear yourself down, is when the fear creeps in. And if you're not taking care of yourself and you're not taking that time, that's when the gremlins start. And they're like, well, if you weren't wasting your time, if you weren't doing this, if you weren't doing that, and it's because your brain is tired. And you can't keep it going in the positive direction you need.
Mm-hmm.
Lot easier said than done. I'm telling you, it's a lot easier said than done. But it's something to think about when you start hearing those gremlins, when that fear starts crawling up your spine. Think about, have I taken the time I needed to take care of myself? Or have I been running myself ragged for everyone in my life?
Right.
And not done what I need for me. And that's hard as a woman. Yeah. That is a really hard thing because you do feel selfish. You do feel like you're taking time away from your family, your job, your clients, whoever.
So, Tonya, you talked about how you got out of your own way to start your own business. So, can you talk about that? Because the timing of it, especially, was terrifying, actually, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like I had mentioned, I had been a business manager for nearly 20 years. I had multiple people over me, and I was good at my job. I was really good at it. But it became really unhealthy for me.
Oh.
And I finally made the leap and I left. But then I'm like, what am I going to do now? I had no plan. I had no grand, big, audacious goal that I was going to be a big business consultant. It's always been in the back of my mind. I went to college for HR with an entrepreneurship minor. It was always there.
Wow.
But reality hit and I had to pay the bills and I had to do these things and I was young. And so you have to go to work in your mind.
Yeah. That's how we're taught. Yeah.
And 20 years later, that's where I was. So then it was scary. Okay, what am I going to do? And it was not even on my radar to start my own business. I went back, got my MBA, was looking at those traditional corporate jobs. And I'm like, I don't want to live that life. I don't want to be away from my family. I don't want to be pigeonholed into one very narrow focus. And I was actually inspired by another woman who, my nature has always been to give. I'm always helping. It's just who I am and who I always have been. And I was helping a woman business owner who is my friend. And she's like, I don't know if my employees are fraudulent or incompetent. How do I tell? And so I started and I kind of coached her through it and said, hey, here's what it is. She said, you could do this for a business, right? I didn't even see it. It was not even on my radar till someone else shared their inspiration. And then it was the huge light bulb. I could do that. I could totally do that.
Uh-huh.
I started talking to every business owner I knew, asking them questions of, on the business side, what do you need support on? But then I also started reading inspirational books and having those. And most of them were other women writers who, a lot of them were the big name guys or gals, I should say,
right,
that were amazing. And it was like, I can do this. And I built momentum little by learning and by saying, I don't want the corporate life. I don't want the hours. I don't want the travel. I don't want to be away from my family. This is my only choice. As unknown as it was, I was at the right place. And I just started taking steps one at a time and asking questions and saying, here I am. Let me help you.
Nice.
And it was not easy. But just like you said, I worked with enough people that people realized she is going to help me succeed.
Yeah.
Because I knew it's possible. I did it myself. Started my business just over a year ago. So when COVID hit, my business was 4 months old.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Not a fun time to have a brand new business.
No, not at all.
But my choice was keep making it work and figure out how to make it work, creating new ways, new things, or quit. Ooh,
that wasn't an option, right?
And in my world, it's like, no, I knew that the world needs someone, especially small business owners, women entrepreneurs, to say, yes, you can. You can do it. You are amazing. You're genius. You have an amazing thing that you do. There might be some stuff you need some help with. We all do. We all have areas that we get our friends to help us with. We get colleagues to help us with. We get YouTube videos.
Right.
So you surround yourself and then you can do it.
Yes. I want to know some of the books that you read that have helped you so much because you keep referencing them.
Okay. It was actually funny. Netflix, David Letterman has the new series where he does interviews with these amazing people for the most part. He's had some crazy ones, but he interviewed Melinda Gates. I had never had much exposure to Melinda as a speaker. She is way more impressive than Bill Gates, but hands down by far.
Wow.
And I read her book, Moment of Lift. And it is inspirational, amazing, but a lot of it is data driven about how women are the backbone of the world. And it's when you empower women and you empower what they do through education, through resources, things change. That snowballed into Brene Brown, Daring Greatly, and Daring to Lead, which snowballed into Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, which I use often because, like I said, morning person, I am not. So hitting that snooze button,
that was you.
Attractive.
Okay.
Or making the cold calls or doing those things, that 5-second rule from Mel Robbins, it can get you past that fear. That's the thing with that. Another one that surprised me that was as inspirational as it was, Girl Wash Your Face.
I knew you were going to say that. I just watched an interview with her, Rachel Hollis, and it was so good. I'd never really tuned in, but it was excellent. Really. So what did you like about her message?
she has an amazing story,
Mm-hmm.
and she started from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And she worked her way through LA
Mm-hmm.
craziness,
Mm-hmm.
but she wanted more, and
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to create more,
Mm-hmm.
and was inspired by the thought leaders
Mm-hmm.
to empower women.
Mm-hmm.
And she's actually one of them that the gratitude practice was a
Oh.
huge practice
Uh-huh.
that she talks about,
Uh-huh.
and the get up an hour earlier,
Oh,
get out of
okay.
your own way. Both
Mm-hmm.
of those were Rachel Hollis inspirations.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very practical. And she's very real in the book,
Mm-hmm.
in that she got in her own way a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then realized, oh, I'm doing this. I need to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a great inspiration in that it was real.
Mm-hmm.
She's not perfect.
No, nobody's perfect. That's the thing. None of us are perfect. No. And the more perfect somebody looks, the more jacked up they probably are behind the scenes.
Exactly. And if you start making the little changes day by day,
Mm-hmm.
you can make the big changes over time.
I love it. I love it. Any other books that you've read that were influential?
Those were the huge. The other one is Simon Sinek's Start With Why.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
That's another one that was really hit close to the really think about why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm.
And the other one I loved, which is different, but it's by Adam Grant, and it's called Give and Take.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about the most successful people in the world,
Mm-hmm.
the truly successful people. Many of them, we don't know their names
Mm.
because they give so much to others over time. As they give, it comes back to them tenfold in different ways. And it's all of
Mm.
these data driven, because he's an organizational behavior professor, data driven examples
Mm-hmm.
of tech people, service people who started by helping entrepreneurs in one way,
Mm-hmm.
and their businesses grew,
Mm-hmm.
and they built a bigger platform and a bigger foundation.
Mm.
And it's just incredible that when you give to others,
Mm-hmm.
you in turn build a bigger, better place.
I love that. That's beautiful. It's so true. And the
Oh, yeah.
payment you get back is not always in money. It's in
Oh,
amazing, amazing things.
absolutely.
Wow, Tonya, is there anything else on New Year's Eve 2020 that you'd like to share with women who wake up and realize, I want to change directions in my life? What else can we do right now?
Right now, decide you can.
Uh-huh. I love
You
that.
see an obstacle in your way, turn it into an opportunity.
Mm.
How can you take that first step?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need the mindset shift?
Mm-hmm.
Start with your mindset. Start with gratitude
Mm-hmm.
and get out your big dream, audacious. Where do you want to see yourself in 10 years? I have a
Mm.
poster just over here in my office of big pictures of the house I want in the future, of the vacations I want in the future, of the speaking opportunities I want in the future,
Mm-hmm.
all on this poster.
Mm. Oh,
So I see every day what I'm working for.
wow.
10 years down the road, where I'm
Uh-huh.
heading and what's going to happen. And
Wow.
courage.
Courage, you said?
Courage. And that's one of the big words I have across my big vision is you have to have courage.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I'm telling you, it is hard, but connect with other people.
Mm.
Get your mindset, connect with other people who you admire,
Mm-hmm.
and really start thinking about what you want and what you can do to start making that happen.
Mm. I love that. That's really powerful. And with social media right now, in fact, today I heard Gary Vanderchuck say you could just DM really prominent, hugely globally known people. You could just go on social media and keep trying, and maybe they'll respond. So,
Absolutely. And that is actually a strategy a lot of people use is comment on their posts
mhm,
regularly,
mhm,
DM them,
mhm,
admiring what they're doing.
mhm.
Again, this is about connecting on a level that's it's not I want to sell my stuff or I want you to put me on a big famous stage. It's
Mhm.
I admire what you're doing
Yeah.
and I learn from you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Huh.
And the more you have those types of interactions, the more you're going to have the opportunity to do new things.
Oh, I love it. And this is the perfect time, the new year, the new you doing new things. I love that so much. Tonya, thank you so much for joining me here on Boss Up Goddess. You are amazing and you have real practical, usable steps we can all take to boss up and be the goddesses that we all deserve and desire to be in the world.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. This
You're
has been
welcome.
fantastic.
Thanks. Where can people reach you, Tonya?
Um, Sowles Consulting on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm Tonya Sowles.
Mhm.
It's all super simple, or my email address is tonya@sowlesconsulting.com.
And it's Sowles. And I'm going to put that information here in the description box so you can reach out to Tonya if you need some, as you can see, the compass behind her head, some change in your direction and how to navigate into the best place for you in your life in 2021 and beyond. So excellent. And thank you, all of you, for watching Boss Up Goddess, where you heard from Tonya Sowles sharing her wisdom to help us all live bigger, better, and bolder. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and remember, boss up, goddess, because you have the power. I'll see you next time, and Happy New